Welcome to Kansas Ag Report. I'm Ken Rogers. Coming up in the program this week, we will visit with Jesse McCurry and wake up to Kansas Agriculture Breakfast that was held recently. Special correspondent Mark Vail sits down with former Ag Secretary John Block. The Kansas Soybean Commission talks about filling those appointees for their board. And the Kansas Department of Agriculture celebrates National Weights and Measures Week. The KLA talks about applying for scholarships, and we'll have a report from Paragon. Another good show. Stay with us. We'll have more in just a moment.
Closed captioning brought to you by
The Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. KansasSoybeans.org.
Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Kansas Weed Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for weeds. Online at kswheat.com. Kansas Livestock Association, supporting our members' business interests to meet consumers' demands. KLA.org.
We're joined now by Jesse McCurry with Kansas Sorghum. We're at the Wake Up to Kansas Ag Breakfast, the annual event that goes on in Topeka. I want to talk to you about why do the ag groups come together and do this?
It's important for us sometimes to get together and have an outlet for some interaction. I think our farmers are hungry for some personal relationships, and they may know their local rep, but they may not know any of the leadership or folks from other parts of the state. And so the tradition continues. We have this actually for the 23rd year with wheat, soybeans, corn, and grain sorghum coming together just to create a forum for building relationships and to have some good food. Our menu has a good reputation, and I think we're going to have another good morning this morning.
Have a lot of folks coming in, and it's it's bipartisan and bicameral, and so everybody wants to come in, and really, don't you think when some of your leaders get to sit down with these legislators, everybody has a story about the farm?
People love agriculture and they love rural Kansas, and everybody has a story about grandma's chicken farm or being on the tractor seat. And the farm leaders getting together and meeting each other is important because our commodity groups do so much together, and we have a lot of fun together, and that's what this morning is about, to try to build some more relationships that maybe can make a difference in Topeka. But like you said, just share the story about agriculture, not only with the legislators but with their staff. This is a popular event for the staff in the State House, and we're glad to see so many of them here. And
the staff members, of course, that gatekeeper, if you will, to get the information to the legislators.
It makes it easier when you pull into an office and you meet somebody with a bright shining face at the front desk, and they've been here and they can relate to having met you at the pancake feed.
But really, this event is more of a get to know you than really a big pressing issue about the issues.
There's always going to be issues, as you know, and they're going to come and go, but this is about creating some rapport and some name recognition and some relationship to when we need to go to the well, we can, and it's worthwhile cause.
And the way this works is what you all kind of take turns being the host organization, but everybody kind of helps?
It's a great tradition of history, that the menu, the utensils, it's got a tradition that's a little archaic, frankly, but I think it's kind of nice because it's history in the making, and we rotate every year. I believe it's wheat turns next year. Sorghum growers come together to do it this year. Corn did it last year, and honestly, it's kind of a team building thing for not only the staff to interact, but the spouses of some of our board members to interact as well.
All right, well, Jesse, again, thanks for your time to give us kind of this insight on the Wake Up to Kansas Ag Breakfast, and it's always a great event, and always nice to have a good crowd.
We enjoy animal agriculture, and I think everybody's having a great breakfast.
Great. All right, thanks, Jesse.
Thank you.
Jesse McCurry with Kansas Sorghum has joined us at the Wake Up to Kansas Ag Breakfast here in Topeka. Stay tuned. We'll have more coming up.
A segment brought to you by Kansas Livestock Association, supporting our members' business interests to meet consumers' demands. KLA.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. grassandgrain.com. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com.
Imagine having someone help you pick the best corn hybrids for every field on your farm. Your Oldie representative can combine your data with his data to offer a field-by-field prescription. Contact Oldie Seed today at 877-692-4555.
All over the country, more and more communities are making the change to biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil. And the decision continues, improving the health and welfare for millions of Americans while adding billions to our national economy.
What does a brighter, more sustainable future look like in our cities and towns, and how do we get there? When New York needed an alternative fuel source to reduce carbon emissions, the city found what it needed in biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
Joining us now is former Secretary of Agriculture John Block. He was Secretary of Agriculture in the Reagan administration. And John, you went through and got the 85 Farm Bill enacted in your work in Congress. We're talking about a new Farm Bill. You see any parallels with what you put up with back then, what you tried to accomplish, or what's your take on the whole Farm Bill rewrite?
Well, on the Farm Bill side, we made a lot of changes in '85. We had before that annual setting aside some of the best land in the world, but I was able, by actually almost going around some of the Office of Management and Budget, got a conservation reserve program put in. So then we were taking land out that was, marginal and needed to be out, probably erosive. So, and that program's lasted all of this time. The Farm Bill this time around, I don't think it'll be a big revolutionary change like the one in '85 was. I think it'll be somewhat similar.
The other thing that's drawing a lot of concern within the ag circles is all of the talk about NAFTA and the trade issues. I know you've got some very personal successes in various trade things back when you were there, plus your work since. Where are we going with this trade situation, especially NAFTA? Well,
certainly the fact that we pulled out of and didn't even do the Pacific Agreement, which I thought was good for agriculture, I don't know. But anyway, now we've got the North American Free Trade Agreement, which is positive for agriculture also, and we don't want to lose it. We don't want to, and I still don't think that President Trump is going to lose that for us or trash it in the end. The ag industry in rural America helped get him elected. He knows it. He likes us. And I kind of think in the end he'll protect us.
Are these all-encompassing trade agreements? I mean, it's almost all or nothing. Is it time to start breaking some things out? Because ag trade is a lot different than other segments of trade internationally.
Well, it is a lot different. And certainly if it was broken out, then we wouldn't be in trouble because we've got a good deal on most of the ag trade. We run a trade positive balance, whereas it's the rest of the country that's not doing it. It's manufacturing and other things, and that's why we come behind on trade.
We're coming off a couple of years, a little longer in some areas of some really tough markets, and prices are down. I know you've got a pretty big operation in Illinois. Any thoughts on what we might be able to do, or what are we going to see going forward?
Well, you know what? We've been through these ups and downs before, and I've seen it down other times. And then we had that market just explode up to $8 corn, and now it's down to $3 or 3 something. So I've seen all this before. I keep thinking that we're going to get some kind of change and it'll go back up. We've had 3 great crops in a row, and we don't always have great crop after great crop.
Well, we've got more to talk about with former Secretary of Agriculture John Block, and we'll be back with that in a moment.
This segment brought to you by Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. grassandgrain.com. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com.
Back now with former Secretary of Agriculture John Block. He was Secretary of Agriculture back in the Reagan administration. A couple other things that are really affecting agriculture. One that we actually are seeing more movement on, and that is EPA and the Waters of the U.S. rule. What's your take on the Trump administration's efforts in the EPA area and things like this?
I think the Trump administration has been a champion on dealing with over-regulation that was heaped on top of agriculture during the early years of President Obama. And I think Trump has taken that off, and I think Waters of the U.S. is not easy, but they're going to get something done there, along with other things. And, you know, you just think about it, you know, the Trump opened up the Keystone Pipeline and a lot of things to get things going and limit regulations, and that's been good for us.
You've been joined by a lot of people and had some critical comments about all these tweeting and things like that. Is it time for him to back off on that from your side of the aisle? I mean, you're on the same side of the aisle, more or less, the conservative side. But if we had enough of the really tough tweets, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but
listen, I got an opinion on this. He says some things that I would never say, but you know, he's his own man. He's not owned by anybody, and that's a good thing to have a president and have politicians that aren't owned by somebody. And so I give him credit for that, but I wish he wouldn't attack individuals and personalities. He could tweet, I think, about issues and business and government actions that should be taken or should not, but stay away from fighting with people.
Back when you were in the administration, it was widely understood that Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill had this relationship where they could be publicly caustic during the day, but they got together at night and they really got along. That situation doesn't seem to exist between the Congress and the administration right now. They failed on Affordable Care Act repeal. But now we've got this tax reform. Is this a big deal for agriculture in your opinion, and can they do anything?
Well,
or will
I think
they do anything?
The problem is still there all across the board. They're not getting along between the parties. The leadership of the House and Senate, Republicans and Democrats, are fighting all the time, and the objective is the Democrats want to stop anything major or important from passing, because if it does, it might help the Republican side. And so they're fighting. We didn't have that much fight. And then tax reform, I don't know if we're going to just push it through with Republicans only, or it might fail. I'm fairly optimistic it might get passed because Republicans are so desperate.
All right. Former Secretary of Agriculture John Block joining us today, and we'll be back later.
Spring is sprung, and Premier Farm & Home has what you need to keep your yard crabgrass free throughout the season. With a complete line of pre-emergents, you can stop crabgrass before it starts. Premier Farm & Home, 900 Southwest University Boulevard, or find them on the web at heycow.com.
The Kansas Soybean Commission will conduct a regular meeting March 16 in Topeka. During it, the commissioners will fill both of the at-large positions on the commission. Any qualified soybean farmer can apply for them through February 28. To qualify, an applicant must be a Kansas resident, at least 18 years old, and engaged in growing soybeans within the last 3 years. As interested individuals are identified, the commission, to the best of its ability, will ensure the eventual appointees reflect the diversity of those its programs serve. That is in terms of farm size, experience, production methods, marketing strategies, and other distinguishing factors. The appointees will take their seats on the commission at the August 17 meeting and serve 3 years. The commissioners' at-large terms coincide with the election of the single commissioner for Districts 1, 2, and 3 in the western third of the state. Volunteer soybean commissioners attend 3 commission meetings each year. They participate in conference calls between those meetings, and they represent their industry to others. The soybean checkoff reimburses them for the travel and other expenses related to their service. More information and the application are available at kansassoybeans.org/forms on the web or by calling the Kansas Soybean office at 877-KS-SOYBEAN. That's 877-577-6923.
The first week of March was National Weights and Measures Week, and the Weights and Measures program at the Kansas Department of Agriculture hosted an open house to share information about the many ways they play a critical role in protecting consumers across the state. Weights and Measures is one of the oldest government functions. It is specifically mentioned in the Articles of Confederation and the U.S. Constitution. The state, national, and global economies depend on uniform standards of mass, volume, and length. Thus, KDA's Weights and Measures program serves a very important function in consumer protection and in facilitating trade. Weights and Measures inspectors test all kinds of commercial weighing and measuring devices. They test scales used in grocery stores, grain elevators, livestock sale barns, pawn shops, and other locations. They test gas pumps and meters used to sell chemicals or to sell propane to homeowners. They check packages containing edible and inedible products to ensure that the consumer receives the quantity stated on the label. They even verify that in-store scanners scan the correct price. Essentially, all consumer goods are subject in one way or another to the Weights and Measures law. This year, members of the Weights and Measures program have been working with law enforcement across the state on a new initiative to prevent credit card skimmers and gas pumps, and they're helping gas station owners learn to identify and prevent installation of these skimmers to protect their customers from theft. Measuring devices and systems have evolved greatly since the 18th century, from mechanical to electronic to cloud-based measurement systems of today. In fact, the theme of Weights and Measures Week this year was back to the basics as we arrive in the cloud. But no matter how much the tools and equipment change, the measurements stay the same. 1 pound still equals 8 to 16 ounces, 1 mile still equals 5,280 feet, and our need for weights and measures remains a critical part of consumer protection in our world.
This segment brought to you by Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. Grassandgrain.com. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
What if U.S. soybean oil were an industry sensation? If end users started asking for it by name? That future is here, the time is now. To meet customer demands, the Soybean Checkoff is investing in varieties that produce oil with increased functionality. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
You need a partner that you can count on. to be there for your business. Providing a depth of understanding to risk management issues so you don't have to. A knowledgeable support team located in your area, delivering products and services to make you more successful.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
What does a brighter, more sustainable future look like in our cities and towns, and how do we get there? When New York needed an alternative fuel source to reduce carbon emissions, the city found what it needed in biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil.
Imagine having someone help you pick the best corn hybrids for every field on your farm. Your Oldie representative can combine your data with his data to offer a field-by-field prescription. Contact Oldie Seed today at 877-692-4555.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
The Kansas Livestock Foundation is now accepting applications for 2018 to 2019 scholarships. Applicants must be graduates of a Kansas high school and, except for vet students, undergraduate students at a Kansas community or senior college. The Merck Cartridges for Cash program offers $1,500 scholarships to Kansas State University veterinary medicine students and $1,000 awards to undergraduates studying animal science and planning to be actively engaged in livestock production. Barton County KLA members turned in the most Ralgro and Revlor cartridges at the 2017 convention, guaranteeing them a winner provided a qualified student applies. Hempel Oil and Mobile Delvac, again, will give 4 $1,000 scholarships to juniors and seniors at K-State and Fort Hays State. Go Bob Pipe and Steel will sponsor a $1,000 award for a student attending any Kansas junior or senior college. Proceeds from the 2017 Kansas Cattlewomen Silent Auction and KLF Club Calf Sale will fund $1,000 KCW and Youth and Ag scholarships. 2 $1,500 awards will be given in memory of Douglas Lau. These will go to junior or senior students at K-State and Fort Hays State. A $500 scholarship will be given in memory of Fred H. Woodbury from Quinamo. Glenn and Clyde Lindstrom scholarships in the amount of $1,000 also will be offered. One application applies to all the scholarships and is available at www.kla.org. All materials must be postmarked by April 20th.
Good morning. I'm Eric Osterhaus with Paragon Ag Advisors. Producers are starting to experience a little bit of relief as we've seen the grain markets rally here recently. This rally started based on a combination of friendly fundamental news from South America coupled with a reversal by the funds from their heavy short positions. It's been as much as a money flow rally as funds liquidate positions as one that's based solely on South America weather. Now, the question on every producer's mind is, what do I do? The age-old conundrum of how to take advantage of early seasonal rallies is now upon us. It's very difficult for many producers to sell or market what they don't have, especially if it hasn't even been planted yet. However, the last 3 years have shown that doing too little during these rallies were pretty costly. Also, the tendency when the market surprises us, and I feel that many folks are a little bit surprised at this moment, is to freeze up and do nothing or very little at all. On the opposite side, there's also a real danger of overselling this rally from a physical and price standpoint. The fact is, we don't know what we're going to raise, and we don't know if prices are going to continue to rise. So what can you do? Finding a way to establish worst-case scenarios from a pricing standpoint while keeping your commitments low are a great strategy for this time of the year. There are several strategies we can help you with to accomplish just exactly this. Give us a call today and we'd be happy to explain how this can be done. As the saying goes, the ducks are now in the air. Be sure you find a way that allows you to take a few shots and get a few ducks in the bag. Give us a call today at 888-452-8751.
Well, that's our show this week. If you would like to follow along, you can do that on social media, Kansas Ag Report on Facebook and Twitter. Also, if you want to watch the show again or tell your neighbors and friends to tune in, they can go to kansasagreport.net. I'm Ken Rogers. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
Closed captioning brought to you by
The Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. KansasSoybeans.org.
Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Kansas Weed Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com. Kansas Livestock Association, supporting our members' business interests to meet consumers' demands. KLA.org.
What if U.S. soybean oil were an industry sensation? If end users started asking for it by name? That future is here. The time is now. To meet customer demands, the Soybean Checkoff is investing in varieties that produce oil with increased functionality. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.